#6 Star Trek movies Paramount Plus must make after Section 31. Paramount Plus A Star Trek. Section 31 finally pushed the franchise into the modern streaming movie era, a bold experiment that proved Star Trek can thrive beyond episodic television. But Section 31 can't be the end of that momentum. The movie gave fans espionage, moral ambiguity, and Michelle Yeoh's magnetic presence as Emperor Georgiou, showing that the Trek universe can handle feature-length stories centered on specific eras and characters. Now that the experiment has worked, the question is, what comes next? The galaxy is vast, the timeline is rich, and Starfleet's future is wide open. To keep the Star Trek movie initiative alive on Paramount Plus, here are 6 movies that absolutely must happen next, stories that celebrate Trek's legacy while boldly exploring new corners of the final frontier. 1. Star Trek, Captain Pike, The Lost Years. Anson Mount's Captain Christopher Pike has become one of the most beloved modern Star Trek characters, largely thanks to Strange New Worlds. But fans know how his story ends, with tragedy aboard a training vessel and a life trapped inside a beeping chair. What we don't know are the emotional years that lead up to that destiny. A Paramount Plus movie titled Star Trek, Captain Pike, The Lost Years could bridge the gap between the final season of Strange New Worlds and the accident that defines Pike's fate. It could explore the weight of command as he faces the ticking clock of his foreseen doom, all while balancing hope, love, and duty. The film could deliver emotional closure for the crew of the USS Enterprise, showing how Pike's final mission changes everyone, including Spock, who carries that grief into the original series. Think of it as Star Trek meets Logan, an introspective, bittersweet goodbye to one of Trek's most compassionate captains. With Anson Mount's charisma, Rebecca remains #1, and Ethan Peck Spock. This could be the movie that unites modern fans and longtime Trekkies in shared heartbreak and admiration. 2. Star Trek, Legacy. For years, Star Trek Picard Season 3 teased the idea of Star Trek Legacy, a series following Captain 7 of 9, Raffi Musiker, and the next generation of the Enterprise crew. While the show hasn't yet materialized, Paramount Plus could deliver it as a movie instead, a feature-length soft reboot of the Next Generation era. The plot could center on Seven's early days in command of the USS Enterprise G, navigating the political turbulence following the fall of the Changelings and the near catastrophe of the Borg resurgence. A legacy film could serve as a test run for a potential spin-off series, gauging audience interest while providing closure for lingering Picard threads. Imagine Jerry Ryan's Seven, Michelle Hurd's Raffi, and Ed Spellier's Jack Crusher in a tense, high-stakes mission to save the Federation from collapsing under its own paranoia after Section 31's exposure. Add a cameo from Admiral Picard or Riker, and you've got a perfect mix of nostalgia and progress. If Paramount Plus wants to unite old and new fans, Star Trek Legacy as a film is the logical and emotional next step. 3. Star Trek Worf, The Klingon Empire. Michael Dorn has been championing a Worf spinoff for decades, and now that Section 31 proved Trek movies work on streaming budgets, this is the moment to make it real. Star Trek Worf, The Klingon Empire could be a political and action-heavy drama focused on Worf's dual loyalty to Starfleet and the Klingon homeworld. Set after Picard Season 3, the movie could explore Worf's role as a peace broker between the Federation and the new Klingon High Council. But internal corruption, old rivalries, and a power-hungry chancellor threaten to ignite war once again. Worf must navigate the tension between his honor and his humanity, and confront whether his lifelong pursuit of peace was ever achievable. This film would be a dream for fans of Deep Space Nine and the Next Generation, combining Klingon mythos, diplomacy, and martial tradition. Imagine sweeping battles on Kono S mixed with quiet, meditative scenes where Worf grapples with the ghost of his father and the spirit of Kallus. Michael Dorn's stoic wisdom deserves one last moment in the captain's chair, or perhaps the chancellor's throne. 4. Star Trek Janeway, The Delta Return. With Star Trek Prodigy giving Admiral Catherine Janeway a renewed spotlight, there's never been a better time to give her a live-action return. Star Trek Janeway, The Delta Return could pick up decades after Voyager's triumphant homecoming, when Janeway learns that something strange is happening again in the Delta Quadrant, something that threatens the entire galaxy. To save her former crew and the quadrant she once explored, Janeway must lead a new starship, perhaps a sleeker USS Voyager A, back into the unknown. This time, she's older, wiser, and haunted by her past choices. She could reunite with her old officers, Tuvok, the Doctor, and perhaps a holographic recreation of Chakotay, while mentoring a new generation of explorers. The story could mirror Wrath of Khan's themes of legacy and aging, while embracing Voyager's core optimism and scientific wonder. Kate Mulgrew's commanding presence hasn't dimmed in the slightest, and a film like this would honor her legacy while giving longtime fans the closure they've been waiting for since 2001. 5 Star Trek, Archer's Legacy. Star Trek Enterprise ended with one of the franchise's most divisive finales, a holodeck simulation that failed to give Captain Jonathan Archer and his crew a proper farewell. A Paramount Plus movie could finally fix that. Star Trek Archer's Legacy could be set in the years after the Enterprise NX-01's decommissioning, as Archer oversees the birth of the United Federation of Planets. But as enemies from Earth's past resurface, perhaps remnants of the Romulan War or Section 31 infiltrators, Archer must rally his aging crew one last time to preserve the fragile unity they fought to create. This could be a rich political thriller, blending Enterprise's exploration tone with the gravitas of the undiscovered country. It would be a story about founding ideals, sacrifice, and the cost of peace. Scott Bakula's Archer deserves a proper ending, and a film that recontextualizes his role as one of the most important figures in Federation history would give him that respect. Even better, Archer's Legacy could set the stage for the early days of Starfleet Academy, directly tying into Paramount's upcoming Academy series. 6 Star Trek, The Next Frontier. Finally, Paramount Plus should look beyond legacy characters entirely. The future of Star Trek needs a clean slate, a movie that leaps beyond the 32nd century of discovery and shows what humanity looks like 1,000 years further still. Star Trek, The Next Frontier could take place in the 42nd century, where the Federation is a myth and warp travel has been lost. A young scientist on a remote colony rediscovers a fragment of Starfleet's technology, a damaged warp core, or a surviving probe, and sets out to rediscover the stars. This film could explore what Star Trek's ideals mean in a civilization that has forgotten them. It could ask, what happens when exploration must begin all over again? With breathtaking visuals and a new cast of explorers rediscovering the cosmic stage, The Next Frontier could reimagine Star Trek's future the way the motion picture did in 1979. Awe-inspiring, spiritual, and deeply human. This would be a declaration that the final frontier is never truly final. Why Paramount Plus needs these movies? The success of Section 31 proves that the streaming movie model can deliver cinematic stories without the massive risks of theatrical releases. Star Trek thrives on serialized television, but it also shines brightest in moments of focus, when the camera locks onto one captain, one ship, or one moral dilemma that defines an era. Paramount Plus can use these films to explore diverse tones and genres. Captain Pike, The Lost Years could be a tragic character drama. Legacy, a political action hybrid. The Delta Return, a nostalgic,